Yeah, so in this video I'm just going to go over these, which are the Adidas Terrex Eastrail 2.0. These are on the RAIN.RDY version. So there's two versions of this. You've got the RAIN.RDY and you've got the Gore-Tex ones. I went for the kind of cheaper RAIN.RDY versions, which were £79.99. I think the Gore-Tex ones are more like £130, £140. So what is RAIN.RDY? It's essentially, from what I've read on the Adidas website, it's their own version of Gore-Tex. It's a breathable membrane that also offers waterproofing. So yeah, we're going to go on to how long I've had them. So that will be about 3 months. And I've used them pretty much every day, maybe doing 3 to 5 miles walking in the UK winter. So dealing with a lot of mud, puddles, slippery conditions, pretty much perfect, I would guess, for this kind of boot. And overall, I'm pretty happy with them so far. For 3 months use, I'm pretty happy with them. If they last for 6 months at £80 and the kind of walking that I do, yeah, that's kind of my benchmark really. If they can do that, then it's a it's a win for me and also for the manufacturer. So yeah, we're talking about the sizing. So what I normally do with a boot is or a shoe, I run 8.5 size, which is a US 9, and I think on this tag, it's for Adidas anyway, it's a 42 2/3, which is a bit of a mouthful, but yeah, a 42 2/3 for European sizes. If you go on a lot of websites, it probably says that these are true to size, and I would agree with that. I would say that they're pretty accurate on their sizing. For me personally, I have a wide foot and I would have preferred a wider toe box. I did find them a little bit uncomfortable to begin with, but a lot of the shops that I went to, they didn't have 8.5 sizes in the boots that I wanted, so this was one of the only boots that I found in the shop that done at 8.5. So that's ultimately why I went with a shoe that was maybe a little bit too narrow for my foot. After 2 to 3 weeks, this has kind of given way and bedded in, and it's not uncomfortable anymore, so I don't have that problem. So yes, I would say that the sizing on them is pretty accurate. When it comes to the RAIN.RDY technology, does it do a good job at keeping your feet dry? And I would say the answer is yes. I did actually do some kind of testing here, where I filled up this syringe with water and I was just pouring it on there, like putting blobs of water on there and putting my hand underneath to see if my hand was getting wet. And it does feel like they do, but I think that's just the material on the inside. Like, my fingers are not wet or anything like that. So I've never had wet feet when wearing them either. But the problem that I have with the waterproofing is this material on the top. So what would have been better, in my personal opinion, is if we had something like this grey material, which is like a plasticky material. If that was on a strip across the toe area, or the toe box area, so that when it did rain and water was hitting the boot in this area, that rain would run off. What we have here is the material that actually soaks up the water, and it takes a long time for this area to dry. And although your feet don't get wet because it doesn't go through the RAIN.RDY technology membrane, it makes your feet feel a little bit cold because you have this kind of wet, soggy material above your feet. So yeah, for me, it could have been improved if there was something that allowed the water just to flow off a lot quicker and not soak into the material. But actually having like wet socks or anything like that, I haven't had them yet. And like I said, when I was using the syringe and putting the water on here, I was actually trying to push it through the membrane to see if I could find any weaknesses along the shoe. I also done it on the gussets as well. So what we have here is a gusseted tongue, so the tongue is attached to the sides via this kind of strip here, and I was putting water all on this tongue as well and seeing if there was any weak spots, but I couldn't really find them. I guess this material is a bit of an issue if you do walk through long grass, because the whole thing is then soaked in water and it does make your feet feel cold and wet, even though they're not when you take your sock out. So yeah, ultimately they do work. The RAIN.RDY technology does work and they keep my feet dry, so I'm happy with that. In terms of, let's say, the grip, as you can see, they are straight from the woods. I did try and tidy them up a little bit just in case there was any nasty stuff on there, but I would say the grip is pretty good. I'm happy with it. I'm not a runner or anything like that, but I do the mileage in terms of walking, and I'm confident with them. If I see a hill and there's wet rocks and stuff like that, I'm kind of confident with them that they will hold up, and so far they've been pretty good. This is after like 3 months, and there's not a huge amount of wear on the knobblies. They're still pretty thick and have a lot of grip. So yeah, if I can get another 3 months out of them, I'll be very happy. No problems with the grip. If someone could invent a shoe that kind of got rid of the mud, that would be amazing. Some sort of material that mud didn't stick to, that would be amazing. In terms of their durability, like I said, maybe 3 to 5 miles a day, and I've been using them for 3 months. They're holding up okay. There are some little edges down here which might not show up too well on the camera, which have you can just see part of the glue giving way there. But I think that's ultimately from when you're stepping and you're bending like that, it tends to do something to the glue. I seem to find that all the boots kind of fail in this area first, but other than that, there's no problems with this kind of tag tongue that comes over. Yeah, they seem to be holding up very, very well, so there's no problems in my mind with the durability. The laces are good on them. They give you long enough laces so that you can basically do what you want with them, whatever way you want to tie them up, and still have enough that you've got, excess to make a bow and put a good knot in them, and the laces stay up once you've tightened them. So yeah, I haven't really had any problems. A little bit of wear on here, but I think that's pretty much from the tongue, or maybe the laces rubbing on there. So yeah, overall, very, very happy with the Terrex boot. Didn't really know what to expect from Adidas when it comes to hiking. I know they do trainers and stuff like that, but a lot of their stuff is quite fashionable, and I kind of really don't want to buy stuff for fashion. I want to buy stuff for durability and comfort and things like that. That is a point. I haven't really gone on to comfort. In there, you may be able to see that there is an insole. It's very basic. It's just a piece of foam that's maybe 2mm, maybe 3mm thick. They have actually glued them in there, which I'm not a fan of. You can pull it and you will actually be able to break that glue relatively easily. But yeah, I'd much prefer insoles that you can get out, just in case it does get wet in there. It will take a lot longer for it to dry with the insole in the shoe than outside. But yeah, in terms of comfort, I can do my walking in them. I can do an hour and a half, 2 hours, and not really have any problems with them yet. So for me personally, the comfort is good. Yeah, I don't really have any problems with them. Trying to think of something, but so far so good. Are they difficult to clean? Yeah, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of this material because it just absorbs the water. Takes a long time to dry. But yeah, what else could they have used really? So yeah, the other thing as well is I'm pretty sure they're made in Indonesia, but I'm pretty sure they're all like man-made materials. There's no leather on them or anything like that. So they're all like plastics and things of that nature. Yeah, they seem to have good ankle support as well. There's not a huge amount of flex in them. So that's something that I quite like. So yeah, Adidas Terrex Eastrail 2.0, RAIN.RDY. It's a shoe that I would recommend for people who like to do a little bit of walking.